So let's move on to some of the IPOs. IPO mania. And I remember this, okay? Everyone wants to compare today's time to other times. I know we have low interest rates and stimulus and stuff like that. The only time I can compare to today's market to is like 1998, 99, where you just had to put .com in your name and have an IPO. You had 4 pages and 2 of them didn't work yet, right? The web. And it was a great idea. It's kind of like the ICO industry, and these things had, wasn't like ICO. ICOs would have like a 50 to 100 million valuation. These things had $1 billion valuations. And then you had, young people going out there and trading and thinking they're geniuses and being like, oh, we're making money on this and we're options. And it was funny because we were managing money at the time and we were working with TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab. So TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab had this program where they pushed a lot of their assets out to independent money managers. So we would meet these people. And I had to meet them and basically pitch them our business. And I closed a lot of them, but it was just fun. These guys like sitting back and go, what could you do? Well, we're up, an average of 20% annually over the last 7 years. That's nothing. I beat that myself. They were just like arrogant. And I feel like right now what's going on, DoorDash, IPO increased dramatically, right? It's opening today. It's supposed to open at 102. I'm looking now. I don't know if it's open on CNBC, right? We're doing this.
I don't think it is yet. I don't think it's still trading. But
they're saying that it's projected to open over $150, I think I saw, which at 102, it's talking $38 billion valuation. If it's over 150, it's going to be more like 50, 55 billion with sales of 1 billion. So trading at 55 times sales. To put that in perspective, Netflix, which people say the valuation's through the roof, is trading at 10 times sales. Now you have Airbnb coming out, being valued at $42 billion right now, even though you saw revenues decrease dramatically this year. However, when you look at the fundamentals and the growth potential compared to DoorDash, and this is expected to come out $60 a share, $42 billion valuation, but they're doing around $3 billion in sales. For me, $3 billion, I think that's a much better buy in terms of valuation, and you have that growth market where DoorDash is an amazing company, captured 50% of the market, but they have very, very high margins in a business that pretty much has easier barriers. It reminds me of Groupon. There's services now, Daniel, I don't know if you know this, which is really cool. I got through Capital One, and there's another service that you use that you could download the app, and every time you order something, no matter what site it is, so pretty much 80, 90% of the sites, if it's Dick's Sporting Goods, if it's Walmart, Amazon, whatever, right before you check out, as soon as you hit, check out, it automatically checks to see if there's any coupons for you. And I've got 10, 20, 25% off sometimes. Right?
Nice. That is a nice feature.
When I see DoorDash and the valuation that it's trading at, I know they capture a big part of the market. I know it's a great company, but their margins are incredibly high for something that they're doing where it seems like a lot of businesses could really do if they want. But again, it's a bull market. Who am I to say where these things are probably going to go a lot higher, just like every other stock, right?
And as silly and macro as this is going to sound, there's risk and successes to being first to market as an IPO. In a sense of what they're trying to do, but they are, how much of the market share did you say? Over 50?
I think it's 50%.
And it's a great name. DoorDash. And if you can get that brand, if you can be the Nike of it, would you rather be Nike or Adidas? It's not that Adidas is unsuccessful, but Nike is bigger, right?
Nike's, much. It's so funny. I don't know. Did you see?
So it's not like there's not a big enough world for a lot of people to compete. But the interesting thing with the DoorDash, they got a real young CEO. I saw just a clip of him on CNBC today. But man, if you can capture that brand, and you can't really value that in my sense. It's just amazing. And I think as long as people are going to continue to, use it word of mouth. Have you used DoorDash?
Yeah, I've used it where, not on purpose, but I'll be honest with you, I don't, it's not like
hold on, what do you mean not on purpose?
No, where they just happen to be delivery service for them. Sometimes
gotcha. Okay.
But it's not like they come to the door and there's some other service, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're not DoorDash?
Yeah,
no way.
right,
Oh my God, the food must be bad.
Yeah,
so
do you have my food?
It's not like Amazon, where Amazon, if you look at the customer service, Amazon is the greatest ever. You call them and say, hey, there's something wrong with the box. They're like, okay, just give it back. You'll give your money back. They don't even ask a question.
Right, yeah.
So it's, when it comes to brands, but maybe this explodes even more. But we have to realize a lot of restaurants are going out of business. COVID is not going to be as big of a deal where people are going to go out a lot more than just order, right? And have restaurants closed. So that should, result in lower total addressable market, I would think.
All the better reason to go public now. It's genius. It's smart. It's a great move. And, hey, that's capitalism, and I know that's angry right now, and that's your talking point there, Frank. But yeah, I think it's great. So, I don't know if the stock is going to go higher or lower, or be higher or lower in 6 months, but investor beware. But that's okay. That's what markets are all about. So,
yeah. Well, you know what? There's a lot of you have the Airbnbs, you have the DoorDashes, which are getting the most attention from the Robinhood crowd, but for those of you out there, you should take a look. There's another IPO coming out. I'm not too sure if it's this week or next week, but it's called Abcelera Biologics. And pretty big. They intend to raise over $300 million. But this is a machine learning drug discovery platform, right? To find antibodies that can be developed as drugs. And it sounds like it's difficult. It sounds like it's crazy. But these guys have I think Eli Lilly, somebody pitched this to me. I was like, wow, because everyone's and I love that, everybody's focusing on DoorDash and Airbnb and they want to get in it. But here's something that I think could really, maybe you're not going to see the huge movement up front, but the business just makes sense in today's world. And the fact that they have that many customers, it looks really, really cool. I mean, this is a $5 billion market that they're going to be in, which, is pretty incredible. But yeah, you always do your research and stuff. I just want to throw out some more ideas there.
Yeah, that's fun. I mean, there's like I said, it's hot, and you'd be silly not to look at them, but just understand that, most of them are probably a pass at current prices, depending on your level of risk and how much you can stomach seeing volatility go up. Everybody's comfortable with volatility until your damn stock opens down 20% one day, and you're like, whoa, that gets you, that makes you fill out the next bubble of, yeah, maybe I'm not that risky. So, yeah, but it's good.
Volatility. I mean, you have Bitcoin. I'm looking at today. It's 18,400. It was 18,000 when I started this podcast. I know that the CEO of MicroStrategy, who's been a big fan of Bitcoin, and bought it at $11,000, has done incredible on it, putting his cash position in it. But he also bought a lot more at 19,000. Right, so it's interesting.
They offered $550 million in convertible notes to raise more money to buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah, maybe they just go out from being.
And again, there's another brilliant idea. Depending on whether it works or not, what a way to think around to try to get exposure. Another publicly traded company. I mean, a lot of people, I think Citron Research put out a tweet about how that's an easy way to get exposure to Bitcoin. And it is. So it wouldn't shock me if Bitcoin goes down 10%. MicroStrategy is probably going to go down along with it.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, listen, that's all fine and dandy because it's a way of thinking out of the box, but what happens if Bitcoin goes to 5,000?
Exactly, yeah. Or 3,000 again.
You know what? People who are Bitcoin fans might say, well, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It's limited supply and just everyone's getting more, more notice. PayPal. Let me tell you something.
But it could.
The government could just say, not allow Bitcoin and say, hey, just shut everything down, especially if it's a threat to the monetary system, which, it is becoming. But be careful with governments. I mean, you've invested, I'm sure, a lot of you out there, I've seen it. People invested in great mining companies in Venezuela, and they happen to have a major discovery, and the government said, you know what, we're going to take 90% of that, and the stock went to zero.
Yeah.
So you always have to prepare when you see a stock or a market, right, where it's that high. Always, I know it's hard to do because you're exciting. It's just like when the market's crashing, you want to sell everything. You always want to look at your risks up here. Like, what could happen where this doesn't work out? Because do you know a bear case on Bitcoin right now? I mean, I own Bitcoin. I told you guys to buy for 3-4 years. We have it in our newsletter. Do you know anyone with a bearish thesis right now?
No, other than like you just said about the end all be all of getting barred from governments. Ray Dalio, the Bridgewater guy, he kind of said that a couple of weeks ago, like that's a big risk. But no, other than that, I mean, well, and it's hard to talk about fraud and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the you could call legit arguments as this thing was rising up, but it's it's decade old now, give or take, a little older than that. But I mean, it is proving itself for people to continue to buy it and hold it. So it's hard to argue that it's a scam or it's going to zero. Anything could happen, of course, but yeah, I mean, no, it's popular right now and near all-time highs. No, a lot of the bulls are in trance, not the bears.